Hello, hello. Hi, Flower. I don't know if you're still here, but hi. Hmm. Today has been a good day so far. I woke up like really late. Well, what time did I wake up? No, I didn't wake up like that late. I woke up at like, I want to say like, I think I woke up at like 2 o'clock, maybe. And I went to the gym and it was leg day. And that was, well, leg day is leg day. It actually wasn't that bad. I think my cardio conditioning is getting a lot better. Um, and then I didn't actually plan on doing this, but my cousin invited me over like on Thursday, so 2 days ago. But my aunt had like a little bit of like a family gathering at her house, and my aunt lives like 30 minutes away, and I actually like quite like her family. So instead of just like hanging at home, I decided to go. It's actually quite funny because I've been like encouraging myself to go and do more things than I usually would. Not necessarily just to do the things, but also so I have like stuff to talk about during these streams. I mean, it's kind of hard to yap for like an hour and a half to 2 hours if you don't like do anything, right? So, oh my God, Mikey, thank you again for the donation. Thank you again, Mikey, for the support for the charity. Hope you're doing well. It's going to a good cause, good cause. Hello, Magla. But yeah, I'm trying my best to have a more interesting life, so I have interesting things to tell you guys. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to all my Americans. Maybe that'll be like what we talk about during today's stream. Not that like I'm a student of history or anything, but so at my aunt's house, I had like chicken, like cheddar chicken dip, or like tortilla chips. But she made like attending family gatherings for the content. I mean, anything that gets me out of the door other than the gym is like a massive occurrence in my life. But we had she fried shrimp, so that was good. But what was really interesting is we ate the shrimp in like bao buns, which I had never done before, but it was actually quite nice. I got to see some of my cousins. I saw my cousin, and I saw another cousin and his wife. And then we're actually planning like another cousin get together next Friday. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, I kind of just stayed over there and we watched the was it the France Paraguay game, if I'm not mistaken, the round of 16 in the FIFA Cup. 8, and we watched that for a little bit. I'm honestly like not. In general, I don't really like sports, but I'm not really interested in soccer of all things. Yeah, so watched that, and so I think I was only there for maybe like an hour and a half. It's only like 30 minutes away, so it's not like I have to like be there for a while to justify the trip, right? And then I actually like got home at like I think I got home like at 8 o'clock. I want to say 8-ish, and I was just working on the side hustle again up until now. I'm probably gonna do some more work after stream, but I didn't want to stream like too late. I could have just like kept working and then streamed at midnight, but I figured that most of my viewers, that's not preferable. But I think there is quite a few that probably are more active during that time. And speaking of which, like surprisingly at this very moment, like I follow a lot of people, right? I follow a lot of streamers, and surprisingly at this very moment, only one of them is live. So I assume, I guess everyone has like July 4th plans or something. Um, but also I know at least like Dulcet, for example, some people are like deliberately not doing ASMR because like I guess they can't in their town without the fireworks disturbing it. Um, it's not really a problem for me because, like I've said before, fireworks are like banned in the like city limits of my city. That doesn't stop like people from doing it, but obviously it's a lot less frequent. Um, yeah, so I don't really have that problem. And honestly, even if they were, even if they were shot off, I'm not even sure if my mic could pick it up. Mm-hmm. It's actually quite ironic that on today I haven't really had anything like what you might call unnecessarily American food. I don't know, whatever that means. I had fried shrimp and bao buns, and I guess chicken dip might be sort of American. It's not like the first thing you think of when you think America, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, American food doesn't really give the spitting image of healthy things. Mm-hmm. So I think something I know I take for granted, and I'm sure like many people take for granted, is like I'm not very patriotic at all. I mean, I love I love living in America, but I've never been to any other countries. Out here for a good time, not a long time. Okay. Um, I think a lot of people like don't like living in America. I won't talk too much about that, but like my experience so far has been pretty great. Like, um, as you guys might know, like, I didn't grow up in the most fortunate family, but I like, I received like a lot of, well, not a lot. I think like the greatest, um, the greatest way like that America, quote unquote, has helped me is that it helped pay for like a big part of my college. Um, because my family like was not that well off, I kind of like I got a lot of like Pell grants and I got subsidized loans for school, so that was really cool. You know, even though like you can make the argument that maybe America should have better social nets, but like it has some, right? And I think like helping people pay for college is an extremely strong one. An apple a day keeps anyone away if you throw it hard enough. Hello, Bear's Bear. I never considered that. But yeah, I mean, and like let's think, right? So like, well, they're all like, I don't want to like glaze America, but there are things that are like really nice about living here. Like, at least for someone like me, one, there's no mandatory military service. That's cool. Um, two, America is arguably the most diverse place in the world. You love my voice, it's so cute. Thank you. Given that it was a lot of America is like immigrants or people like that originate from immigrants from a long time ago. What else? In general, I think wages. I'm pretty sure for like most jobs, if not all jobs, the wages in America tend to be higher than like almost any other country. Um, and I think America also like America is not the most progressive place in the world, but it's definitely a lot more progressive than a lot of other places. So honestly, I like a balance. But me, I don't really care about anything, so it doesn't really matter to me. But if I had to choose, I would prefer a balance. What else? Mm, mm, kind of like the same thing about like diversity is that, like, you know, depending on where you live, you can have like, you can enjoy like a wide variety of cultures and like a wide variety of cuisine. Like I really don't know if you could say that about, well, you can say that about a lot of other countries in the world, but I'm not sure if that it's as diverse and prevalent as America. Thank you for the follow, T. What else? Okay. Here's like an underrated benefit, and this just comes to mind recently. Internal building air conditioning is normal in America, because apparently that's not normal in a lot of European countries like Germany. So I'm very grateful for air conditioning. I think it's reported that, like, I don't remember where I read this, and like that like people in Switzerland are the happiest or something. I don't really know how you grade happiness, but I believe when I read that a long time ago that it's Switzerland. I imagine America is somewhat up there, I imagine. And something that like I think is kind of underappreciated is like America has obviously the greatest military in the world, and it's kind of like that saying, you know, hold a big stick and speak softly. Like that's also why Americans don't have mandatory military service, and why I'm confident that in my entire life I'll never have to worry about like, you know, like having to be conscripted or like my life being in danger because there's like bombs falling on my town or something. Like no country, it would be stupid for any country to challenge America in like warfare. And you know, people don't really appreciate that. Like a lot of people like to talk like a common talking point when people talk about like social nets is how America spends obviously like is the number one spender of like military equipment, and like I can understand where they're coming from, but it just goes back to like that big stick thing. Like it's like the same reason you kind of save money, right? It's like you do it because like it's like, okay, maybe not maybe saving money isn't the greatest analogy, but like buying when everyone knows you're the biggest military spender in the world, it gives you a sort of respect, you know. And it's like it's preventive care. The most widespread military globally, they have to get through mini nets to get to mainland. Anyways, I'm very grateful to be an American. I also think like we'll talk about it in a minute. But I'm very grateful to be an American. But to be fair, I am someone that has like a good career. I imagine if I was, how shall we say, if I was born into even worse circumstances, and like my life was going nowhere, I might be a bit more bitter that like my country isn't helping me more. And also like some of the greatest things in the world are obviously like invented in America, like Chick-fil-A and Waffle House. I don't really participate in it, but I do think like obviously America wasn't the first country to ever be a republic. Like I know the Netherlands was a republic way before America was, but like you can tell, like if you ever took like, you know, basic history classes or civics classes, that like the people, like, you know, the founding fathers, they put a lot of effort into making like a very, I guess, balanced and like I don't know what else word I would use. Like they took a lot of care and thought into making a very functional like political system and like government system. Hi gal. I'll give you an example, right? Like a lot of people like to talk about how Japan is the safest like country in the world apparently, But I don't think they don't like to bring up that like Japan, I think has like a, like in Japan, if you're like accused of something, you are like, it's not good. I think Japan has like a 90% conviction rate or something insane like that. Like, innocent until proven guilty is like not a thing in Japan. Apparently, if you get like arrested, the cops will just like keep you detained for literally days and keep you locked in a room and like torture you. Not torture, but like they'll like abuse you until you finally like confess to something you didn't do. Like this is like a very known like problem with the Japanese justice system, that they over accuse or they over like convict people. So yeah, I'm grateful. You know, obviously the American judicial system is not perfect, but I think, you know, it's relative to every other country in the world. It's pretty good, you know. I don't want to speak too much on like yeah, I shouldn't talk about that. I would say, not that I ever have any experience with it, but I would say the American incarceration system leaves a lot to be desired. Like, I would say most American prisons don't particularly strike me as humane. I think, like, well, you know, just to like take a step back and like I don't want to like, you know, talk about all the ways that America's great. One of the ways that I feel like America is not great is a lot of states kind of like see criminals as like, they basically dehumanize them, and like they view prison as more of a punishment than like rehabilitation. And well, obviously if you're like marked as like a felon, like your career options become extremely limited. So that's not great. It's very scary getting in trouble out here in public. The Japanese police will fight the US military police over jurisdiction over you. Oh my goodness. Let me see. I don't have any experience with this, but I imagine like entrepreneurship is a lot more easily accessible in America compared to like almost everywhere else, I imagine. Are you my long lost father? No, I'm sorry. Hello. I'm just talking about America. Now, like I said earlier, I don't really consider myself a student of history. Like, you shall continue looking. Good luck. Godspeed. Like, what American isn't like fascinated with like the American Revolution story? It's so romantic. Like this people that are faced under like overwhelming odds and they somehow win. Like, I'm pretty sure like the American Revolutionary War is often cited as like one of the most like romantic underdog stories in the history of man. Hello, Sonny. So yeah, that's really cool. Like, this is good. I don't want to like also like glaze like I guess like older generation. Thank you for the follow. When you read like the text of like the founding fathers, like the way that they speak, the way that they write, they like write and speak like so elegantly. And I guess to be fair, they were also probably the most educated, and for the most part, they're the most educated people in the country. So it's like not a good like analogy. Oh, thank you for the advance. You know, it's not really fair to compare like Thomas Jefferson to like the average dude on the street, because Thomas Jefferson is still probably, you know, infinitely more educated than most people, I assume, at least in general things. Num. I honestly don't really know much about American history other than like the Revolutionary period. Everything between that, I have like brief knowledge of, but wasn't really interested in anything else. like a lot of American history past the Revolutionary War is like infighting in America, basically. Mm-hmm. Hi, talentless blonde. What? Why do you say that about yourself? I bet you're very talented. I bet you're extremely talented. Hello. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the follow. We're talking about America. What else? Mm, mm, mm. I know. Is there any advantage to feel like, oh, you're from the UK? Well, maybe you can't really relate to a lot of the things then. Mm-hmm. Um, I don't know if there's necessarily any advantages to like. I mean, obviously, like, does America have the most billionaires? Is that America? The most billionaires. Oh, it does. Okay, by a significant margin. I do think like obviously it's no coincidence, right, that America has the most billionaires, and like it just, again, it's because like how much better it is to be like an entrepreneur in America. I think people kind of underappreciate like it's gonna sound kind of like cliche, I guess, but a lot of people kind of, oh, thank you for the sub, Mikey. They need more computers in McDonald's. What, America? Or who we talking about? What was I gonna say? Oh, like I think kind of like it's like we're also another common talking point to kind of just hate on billionaires just because they're rich, which I think is kind of silly. A lot of people don't really acknowledge how like a lot of billionaires have literally improved the quality of life for like people across the entire world. Like, common talking points are, let's see, like, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, like basically he didn't invent social media, but I would say like he made it like mainstream. Or I mean, you can argue between like Facebook and MySpace. Like he definitely he massively contributed to the age of social media and like helping people be more connected. The freaking, okay, maybe not Jeff Bezos. I don't know if Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, like, made it so we can literally buy like anything and get it to our door in like days. Elon Musk made like global telecommunication with Starlink and gave us self-driving vehicles. Gabe Newell, Gabe Newell. I don't think Gabe Newell's a billionaire though, is he? I don't think he's a billionaire. Is Gabe Newell a billionaire? Oh, he is. Oh my god. Yeah, Gabe Newell, I guess. He is a billionaire. Jesus. He owns 50% of Valve? Oh my god. I really respect that's like Valve has remained a private company through all this time. I think that's why typically the companies that tend to maintain the highest consistency and quality also happen to be the ones that are privately owned, because it lets them not have to like kneel to investors and do something that they wouldn't necessarily agree with. Yeah, I mean, now, like, again, this is all easy for me to say because I'm like in a very I live very comfortably in life, so I have like never ever like been in a position to like, I guess, want for more. My art is so cute. Thank you. If you look at my credits, I'm pretty sure I made a big effort to credit every single artist. So if you're interested, I know people who've spent well, in my opinion, like finding like kind of lesser known artists and spending somewhere between like 1 in 3,000 is probably like the sweet spot for a VTuber model. I think anything past 5,000, you're paying for more of like the recognition of the artist than maybe not necessarily their skill. Not to say that like they're not like not extremely talented, but like you have to think at some point there's like diminishing returns. Mm-hmm. But also obviously don't like dump a few $1,000s into VTubing trying to see it as an investment. That will not go well. Mm-hmm. I think after stream, I'm probably gonna stream for another hour, and then after stream, I think I'm gonna work on the business some more, and then I have, maybe I'll play Valorant with some friends tonight. I'm not sure. I'm either gonna play Valorant with some friends or Counter-Strike, depending on who's online. America, America, America. What else? I think the American education system, well, I prefer the American education system to most, like, I definitely prefer it to like a lot of Asian countries' education system, because like I said before, like, compared to like Asian countries, I think the American education system strikes a good balance between like I guess like work-life balance. You know, I don't think education is over glorified in America as compared to like other countries. Or like in other countries, unfortunately, it's for like a lot of people, it's viewed as like, if you don't do really well in school and get a white collar job, you're screwed, which is like really like narrow-minded. Like, as if the other countries don't have any blue collar like needs at all. I don't know. Oh god, I hope my mic can just pick up that burp. Oreo dust? What is Oreo dust? I think the UK has a good system. I wouldn't know. The UK, you know what I really want to try? I don't know if I'll ever go to the UK, but I really, 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 really want to try pie and mash. I knew that like, that's not a thing where I live. Maybe it's probably a thing like New York. I imagine you could find a place, but like, I want to try it so bad. I also just have like mashed potatoes, like one of my favorite foods. Yeah, I'm grateful that like America has like I said, a large like variety of things. You know, like you can go to like the Walmart and you can get like all kinds of. You can get pasta, you can get rice, you can get like noodles. You can get like curry powders. You know, like the average American grocery store isn't. It's probably not good at any particular thing, but it's like very. There's a wide selection. If I need something more specific, I'll go to like a specialty store. But generally, I don't really eat that many like complicated things anyway. And also, I guess kind of like underrated is that, like, I definitely think, yeah, Buc-ee's. I do live in an area that has Buc-ee's. The first time I went, I thought it was kind of overrated. Like, I guess like to be fair, I mean the gas is cheap and the food is good and they have like everything you'd ever want and the bathrooms are clean. Like, I would say that was like the number one thing I liked the most. It was like I went in the bathroom and there's like 30 stalls and they're huge. And I was like, oh my god, like this bathroom is like so good. The Buc-ee's bathroom is so good. Like, it's the complete opposite of what you think of like gas station bathroom. I thought the brisket was kind of overrated. It's actually quite funny because I don't know if this is the case in like every state, but in my state, I think, or my city, they had to limit Buc-ee's by how much they could make the gas cheaper, or like I guess otherwise it'd be viewed as like price gouging. Like they were like afraid that Buc-ee's would just annihilate all the local competition, so they capped how low they can make the gas. I agree with you. You go for the experience. I think it's all right. You know, I don't go out of my way to go to Buc-ee's. I just go to whatever gas station is closest to me. They water it down as well. What? Really? Water it down to get what? How does that work? What? Never heard of this. Watered down gas? What? I have never heard of this as like a methodology. How does that even work? Like, wouldn't your car just like break? Yeah, I was also gonna say, like, I think like America is also one of the most like how would I say this? America is very much based on, for the most part, it's a meritocracy, right? Is that the word, meritocracy? So like you know, in America more so than a lot of other places, you know, if you're good at something, you're gonna get a good job. You don't have to like know the right people. Your dad doesn't have to be the president of whatever, you know. Not to say that like, you know, that what's the word? Despotism? No, nepotism. Like, not to say there's no nepotism in America, like that'll always be a thing, but again, like relative to a lot of other countries, you know, America is very much like a merit-based system. I know a guy who worked for Buc-ee's. Oh, he spilled the beans on the gas. And also in general, like America has like this reputation for being like an unsafe country. I don't know why. Like, you know, you have this thing in relatives, but let's look at the global like rating. Where does the United States lie or rank in terms of safety? Oh wow, actually never mind. I guess like according to the Global Peace Index, America's among the bottom. Really? Well, I will say something that's not great about America is the good places are really good and the bad places are really bad. The quality of life of America is not very evenly distributed. Unfortunately, it's almost like the places in America that are really bad are kind of like, instead of like being like helped, they tend to be like abandoned, and it's like the local state or city or state government have to try their best to improve the city, but like they're probably not getting as much support as they should from the federal government. Like they're definitely like left to fend for themselves, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of anything else. I feel like my life is like very convenient. Like, you know, I don't know if I would say like, I think by typical by typical standards, like I kind of have like, I would say like kind of like a cliche American life story. Like, So my parents were immigrants, right? And I'm a first generation college student, and I really tried hard, and now I have like a comfortable life, and like, you know, in a lot of places that's not possible. So like my experience in America has been great. So, you know, all things considered. But I'm also, to be fair, not a very political person at all. I'm pretty politically apathetic. And I'm also like not very religious. So if I mean, I think the people that are more neutral at things, not necessarily because they're not passionate about anything or they don't care about anything, but like the people in the world that can see both perspectives and are more like moderate, I guess. I feel like they tend to like, you know, I don't want to say they have like a better quality of life, but they probably like are like more at peace, right? Like I imagine if I had a strong opinion about something, particularly something political, it would like really bother me if it wasn't like met in some way. Is there anything else that's like uniquely American? Like that America does that no other country does at this point? I do think, you know, America has its fair share of like atrocities, right? Like most famously, like Americans or like the U.S. government was pretty awful to Native Americans. Like that's like not a disputed fact. We all know that. And I do think America's tendency for what do you call it? It's not colonialism. It's like the American conquest. Like America's tendency to like want to like influence and conquer not conquer, but like, you know, quote unquote conquer and influence other countries is a little overblown, I think. Not overblown, but like I do think there's a point to that. Like, you know, like I think like like we recently invaded Venezuela, right? Was it Venezuela? And Donald Trump said like it was because like they were like the I don't know, global policing. Yeah. I don't know if, you know, Venezuela, like the claim was that the president was supporting like drugs coming into America. I haven't done any research on that. I don't know how much that's true, but like, you know, just invading a country in general is like kind of, you know, it's an act of aggression. I don't know. Yeah, I do think maybe kind of America like likes to reach its hand deeper than like maybe it should, you know? Like America sees itself as like the great savior of the world. Sometimes when like particular countries don't want to be saved, if that makes sense. Like America is definitely like a, you know, I'm gonna do this because it's good for you, and you don't know that, but I'm helping you, and you just don't understand that. Like I don't really, you know. I mean, as an American, like, you know, I should be. I guess I should be happy that like, you know, how do I put this? It's gonna sound really harsh, but like I'd rather live in the country that's, you know, being the bully than live in the country that's getting bullied. I know that sounds really awful, but like basically like in a sense I should be grateful that my country has like such like massive influence over the entire world. But like I feel like there's just like, you know, ample opportunity for that to be like abused, I guess. I have a friend who was part of the intel side of things for the operation. Really? And that being said, I do think corruption in America is also like, you know, I think for the most part, you know, corruption isn't really a thing in America. At least not like in a really bad, systematic way. Hi, and Vasa, good evening, or I guess good morning for you. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, my back. Oh, corruption. You think this is the furthest thing from the truth? For what? For what point? Corruption? You think America's a very corrupt country? I think like on a smaller scale, like it's like why like there's been definitely like corrupt like for example corrupt like um police I guess what do you call it like some cities, particularly small cities, it's a lot likely that they might have like a corrupt like police presence, but like I don't really think America has like any like I said systematic corruption issues, um but I do think like it's definitely probably a lot more prevalent at like the smaller levels of government. um mm, Although I do think like it's not really corruption, but hi Chunky. And I talked about this before, there are definitely some like systematic issues that America has that doesn't like encourage, thank you for the follow Haley, that doesn't like encourage like productivity. So like for example, one of the things I was talking about on one of my other streams was that like for example teachers are kind of incentivized to like push students through that are not necessarily ready to get their numbers up. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the show The Wire. The Wire, I highly recommend it. It's a really good show. Like obviously like widely acclaimed as one of the greatest shows of all time. But it probably like it'll probably resonate with you more if you're an American, and particularly if you grew up in a bad area. But in the show, a reoccurring theme is that the police department, like they don't like do their absolute best in solving cases, because like they don't want their city to have like a high murder rate. So like they're kind of like eager to just like I guess make cases go away rather than like genuinely investigating them. And I do think there's probably some truth to that, like in actual real life. I think there are other like systematic issues that America has, but it's not really necessarily like a product of like American systems so much as so as like the American people. Like America, while being, in my opinion, being the most diverse diverse country in the world, could probably, still like in general, like in like looking like objectively speaking, not a very diverse country. In a lot of, especially in a lot of areas. Like it's kind of sad to say, but like for example, the where I live is not diverse at all. It's nothing like New York, for example. You would have hoped, in an ideal world, that the entire country is kind of like evenly distributed, but like America tends to have like a lot of like tribalism, like it, for example, it's not a coincidence that California has like the most Asian people and the most Latino people. A lot of people will like leave their state to go live in California, and like vice versa. A lot of people might leave California to go live in like Texas, for example. And I don't, and it makes sense, right? Like in of itself, like you should go to the state that you think you have the best quality of life for your value system. But like in general, like people going into packs of like obviously you want to be surrounded by people that are just like you, but like that tribalism in of itself is like not healthy, I think. politically divided. I think that's just like a byproduct of like America's freedom of America's like freedom of expression. People just want to close with people of similar culture and beliefs. Like there are some things that I do find stupid. Like, I think most countries don't have this anymore, but like I know Japan, like, you know, relatively speaking, what year did Japan abolish statute of limitation? In 2010. In 2010. That means if you were a criminal and if you killed someone in Japan and you went 25 years and no one found out, they could not freaking pursue you after 25 years. Like, that's insane. Like 2010, like that's very much like into the modern era, you know? Like, that's insane. I don't want to get too political though, but I would say like I do agree that, like I said, like America is pretty split in a lot of ways. Like one side of the country is dramatically, like you'll have a dramatically more different experience than I think than another like other place of the country. At least as far as like policies go. I don't really want to talk about like which one I think is better. Like honestly, I think I could be happy anywhere because I kind of keep to myself. But it works. Yeah. Also, I think people just like to. Does it? Wait, what are we talking about? What works? I am not a fan of Japan's legal system, if that's what we're talking about. I don't, you know, I guess it works, but I don't know if it works well. They got accused, you get like, or God forbid, you get accused of something you get accused of something in Japan, or like for example, the police think like you're the number one suspect in a murder case or something. Like you're probably screwed. You know, I imagine false incarceration is much more common in Japan than like America. Actually, I say that, you know, confidently. Hi, Heron May. Hello. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Wave, wave, wave. Are you American, Heron? Heron? I assume you're American, right? Nice. How was your July 4th? Hope you had fun. I'm pretty good. It's a long weekend, so today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. I'm chilling. I'm big chilling. Yeah, that emote's pretty cute. Whose emote is that though? Is that yours? Oh, it's yours. Oh my god. That's adorable. I like crows. Because they're like kind of like emo pilled. Yeah, how are you doing? Are you streaming later? We got my fellow Sunday. Oh, sorry. That was very inconsiderate of my European friends. It's Saturday in America. Yeah. Had a friend wait trial for 10 months in Japanese jail for something he was falsely accused of. Really? You personally know someone that like went through that? That's insane. That is insane. You know, a full-time chatter today? Oh, how lucky am I that you were in my chat? How did your 4th of July go? It was cool. You know, I ate dinner with my aunt's family. That was pretty fun. You know, had some good food, had some good conversation. Admittedly, I probably don't, like, I'm not very much, I wouldn't call myself a family person, but that's also because my family, like my immediate family, are jerks. So I kind of like gave me a bad impression of like family values in general. Hopefully I can like fix that. Mm-hmm. Hi Flower, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. How are you watching the stream? It's so odd for you to be able to watch at this time. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else? Are there any other great things about America? I think it's, I don't. How many other countries give you like a public attorney if you can't afford one? Like I imagine in like most like developed countries that's like a common thing, right? How many countries give you a public defender? Yeah, okay, most of them do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live I don't think I would want to live anywhere else in the world. It's hard to say without having been to them. Majority of them do. Yeah, I figured. Like, I think it's a very like basic human rights thing at this point. I assume most countries kind of acknowledge that. I'm also really grateful that like, they're not that I'm religious at all, but like that America doesn't like recognize like a country religion, or it doesn't really have that like an official religion. Obviously the majority of America is Christian, but like that's not like that's not like official in any way. I mean, what are common things that people like to say that why America sucks? I don't want to like get into like. Yeah, no, we'll skip that. That's too controversial. That's too controversial. Expensive healthcare. Oh yeah. Okay, that's. I think that's also true. Like, certainly, I think. I do think. I do think like education and healthcare are a right, not a privilege. I think those are like you should be able to like give someone the means to become independent, but also like if they're literally gonna die, you should like do something about it. And it shouldn't like seriously cripple their life. And again, like America does have some things in place. Like if you're really broke, they'll pay for your college or a large part of it. But also, same thing with the healthcare. Like there is like affordable healthcare if like you're, is it Medicare or Medicaid? I forget. I always get them mixed up. Okay, no, it's Medicaid. Loans. Do you have student loan debt, Aaron? I paid mine off like long ago. I remember being so miserable. Ooh. Starting your professional life with loans is garbage. Oh my god, hi Hobby J. Like, oh yeah, I'm finally an adult now, and I'm in debt. That's, yeah. like I said, America is it's not the worst. Like it's not like it's not like you're on your own, but it's also like obviously some states tend to be a bit more generous than others, and mm, there are still situations within the confines of those like of that argument that like kind of go against it, right? So can we give you an example? Um, there's a lot of people where like so the way that it works in the U.S., right, is that the government like they'll help you pay for college, but that is defined by how much your parents make. So I know a lot of kids, like a lot of my friends have parents where like their parents made enough where they didn't qualify for any financial aid, but their parents didn't help them pay for college, which was like which is like that's the whole expectation the government has. They're not going to help you because they expect your parents to pay for college, but your parents aren't legally obligated to do it. So if you're a poor kid and your parents don't want to help you pay for college and they make a bunch of money, you're fucked. I mean, it's like that is one of the worst situations to be in. And like I did experience that when my dad got remarried. It like their combined like income was too much for like I lost my financial aid like halfway through college, and my stepmom had no interest in helping me pay for college, even though she was the reason I lost all my financial aid. That's another story. Fireworks make me sad because I'm sitting here broke and they're over there burning money like it's nothing. I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. Burning money. Hi, Calypsy. Nice to see you. Wait, I need to get you both shout outs. Let me give Aaron a shout out first, and I'll give Calypsy one next. And go follow Aaron May. She does really chill streams, like super chill. The definition of chilling, big chilling over there. We're big chilling. I don't really know how else to describe it. I mean, to me, it's chill. I think you're a really chill person. What did you go to college for? I don't mind saying. I went to college for computer science, but that was when it was like, when I went to school for computer science, it was a lot more, it was a much safer option than it is now. I should say. Tech was still a lot more popular, and that was before the proliferation of like AI. Now like AI, whereas like the first like few years of my professional life, guys, I wrote mostly code, and now like most of my code is written by AI, and I just sit there and like I make sure it's not like it makes sense. So like I was like really, I just want to go on this random tangent, sorry, but like I was really, really on the fence for the longest time about using AI because like, I didn't trust it to do my job. But I finally bit the bullet and gave it a chance, and it is like insane how much more productive I am because of it. I do think in some fields it's a lot more like controversial to use it than others. Like obviously, like AI art is a lot more morally questionable. But if your field doesn't have any like creative element, then I do think whether your stance whatever your stance is on AI are, it is something that I think learning to be able to prompt AI is like the equivalent of like knowing how to learn a computer 20 years ago. It's like it's this thing that like whether you like it or not would probably make you infinitely more productive by like several multiples. And that's probably true for like a lot of jobs. It certainly is for my job. But also, to be fair, since I'm a programmer and literally programming is like, it's in a sense a language, like AI is like most applicable to like programming. Anyways, going back to my earlier talking point, college, it's not like, again, that system isn't perfect. And also like some colleges give a much better quality of education than others. Like again, I still do think that mostly America is a meritocracy. They're gonna start teaching it in school soon. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like they should make. I think like I use AI. Like, I use AI for like the vast majority of my Google searches. I think it's like before you had to learn you had to be good at Googling, right? And you had to know how to filter out the trash and find exactly what you're looking for. Now the new skill is like learning how to prompt an AI to get like the right results. Like, I'm sure when we were all kids, like our teachers took us to the library and they were teaching us how to use a search engine. Like the equivalent of our era is like how to properly use a prompt or how to write a prompt properly. Let me shout out Calypsy. I mean, go check out Calypsy. She has a dangerously beautiful voice. Dangerously beautiful. Talk to it or ask it? Yeah. What else is there? I mean, I think also like another like kind of America like famously has this problem of like brain drain and it's like you know, gentrification and like white flight. Like basically like it's kind of what I said like before. If like what the tribalism, like typically like, you know, if people like, let's say you have a city that's like divided of like half like wealthy people and half like poor people, what tends to happen is that all the rich people leave, and it just instead of like trying to help the community, they leave and they like leave the place to rot. And I feel like that's also like a very American thing to do. Hi Jump, I'm great, how are you? So like that's not very great. I do think, and also like of that same accord, like a lot of public schools are shitty in America, like for better or for worse. Like a lot of education how do I put it? A lot of like cities education are really bad, and it's like the same problem, right? Like this is one of this is one of like the systematic issues of a like highly capitalistic society. When when you make a lot more money working in the private sector, the good people are incentivized to go work for the private sector, you know? Like the teachers that like are good, they're more incentivized to go work in private schools. The lawyers that are good are more incentivized to go work, you know, for big law firms. The soldiers that are good are more incentivized to go join private military contractors. And like it's like a very capitalistic thing. Really, the government needs to do a better job at incentivizing working for the government. And I'm saving up to go to a trade school for industrial electricity by next year. I'm not too confident in myself or my abilities. I'm just going to give it my all. I think that's very noble of you, Hobby. I do think like, you know, all you can do is the best you can do. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, you need to be able to find like solace in that you really tried your best. Because, you know, I don't want to say that like, I don't want to go as far as to say that like, I do think if you set your mind to something and you give it your all and you have the right guidance, that you can moderately succeed at it. But I do think obviously there's some things that people are a lot better at naturally than like other things. That doesn't mean like you have to pursue like the things you're good at. Like I know a lot of people, like, how do I put this? if you hate something but you're good at it, that doesn't mean you have to go like do the thing you're good at, right? I think like life, like when it comes to like finding a career, it's like you have to strike a balance between what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what's like what's in demand. Um, I am like really jealous of people that can truly say they love their job, but like for the vast majority of people, that's not the reality. Thank you for the headbats, Jump. Like that's not the reality, right? So I think like like a lot of kids going to college, they become a bit like I guess like I don't want, for lack of better words, they're a bit naive, and they study the thing that they think they'll like really enjoy, and then they graduate and they can't find a job in that field, or they do and it doesn't pay that much. Like that's what I mean. Like you have to strike a balance between what you like and like the outlook. Like famously, or famously, like the meme is that like art degrees are worthless, which is a shame. We live in a society where certain skills at this point in our existence are more valuable to society than others, and that's just how it is. Maybe one day artist will be, well, actually I don't know if I could say that. Like art is viewed, like any creative outlet is viewed as like more of like a leisure thing is the problem. So like within that like perception, I don't know if the arts will ever overtake like traditional fields in terms of like their respect and or pay. Anyways, yeah, just find the right thing. Find the right thing. Thank you for your kind words. Oh, no problem. I think, I don't know you personally, but like I said, if you try your best and you seek out the right guidance, I think you'll be fine. And that seeking out the guidance thing, like the proper guidance, is a lot harder than trying your best. Anyone can try their best, but a lot of people can be misguided. You're Unless like you're a very cynical person, and which is not necessarily a good thing. But unless you're very cynical and like you kind of like question authority, which again is not necessarily a good thing. But like unless you have those qualities, or like actually I should say like you want to be like really free thinking, and you want to be in charge of your own destiny, in that like you need to do your own research to find out what's the best for you. You should not rely on like your parents or that guy or your boss or even your guidance counselors to tell you what is the best for you. Like you need to do that research for yourself. And I cannot like hammer that away enough. I think like a lot of kids have like this learned helplessness, because obviously obedience is a really big thing in the American education system, but also in I guess like just popular culture in general, or like like, so you really need to like learn to like, and it sounds kind of awful, but like you just need to be a free thinker. Like I don't want to say like go out of your way to like be skeptical of like your teachers and your professors, and like your anyone like giving you advice. Like being able to like take advice is a very valuable skill. Being able to like take constructive criticism is an extremely valuable skill, and it shows maturity. But you also need to be able to have the right judgment to know when the advice you're giving, that's being given to you, is bad advice. I agree. Like I know, it's so sad. I know like so many people I went to college with, like they were like the sweetest people ever. Like they're very kind and they're very hardworking. Like they would put in the hours, but they're like extremely misguided by our college because our college sucked. Like they were not being taught the right skills. Like my school in particular, like the computer science program, a lot of the professors were teaching like seriously outdated concepts that like they weren't really being like, they weren't very transferable to the job market, which is obviously why most people go to college anyway. Yeah, so a large part of your destiny is crafted by you, and you like also need to be able to take responsibility for that, right? Like it's a cliche, but life is unfair. And so like that's what I kind of get at. Like you need to do your best with what you're given. You know, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And what's beautiful about America is that that's very possible in America as compared to other countries. Like it's not the best, but generally speaking, like you have the tools available to you to succeed. Jobs, coming about work experience and education. I agree. I definitely agree. That's like I was talking about this earlier in a different stream, but like, it is arguably, no, actually I say this confidently, it is more important than like that you do an internship in college than your grades. Like if you have to tank your grades to get an internship or do one, it is worth it. Because the moment you graduate college, no one cares about your grades. I'll do better than my teachers and questionnaire Tony. Get what you're saying. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. No, you don't want to. You need to develop the right framework for being able to like know when to take someone's advice and when to say or when to gracefully decline it, I should say. Like it was cliche, but like when I was a kid, like a lot of my family liked to give me advice, and thankfully I never listened to them. Like my dad said, he said you should be a doctor, and when I was like in like high school, my uncle said you should get into cybersecurity, which is like, you know, those things are like not bad advice, but like they're not taking into consideration what you want to do, right? They're very siloed. It's very siloed advice. Because ultimately, when someone gives you advice, it's like, you know, a large part of that advice is like it's from their perspective. Like it's oftentimes when they give you advice, it's more like what, you know, it's what they would do in your position. But not, you know, obviously what someone would do in your position isn't necessarily the best thing for you to do in your position. I don't know. I think in all things, finding a mentor is extremely valuable. Wait till we find out we are VTubers. Cybersecurity makes money, therefore you should do it. So you take the advice from really going to feel that pays enough to survive. Oh, a lot of like that advice is like not very like, is like not taken from a place of experience. Like I would like, if someone that actually works in cybersecurity told me I shouldn't get into cybersecurity, that would take that with a lot more consideration than like just like you know, some like soccer moms like, oh, I heard cybersecurity is hot right now, so you should do it. It's like, okay. Like actually my work knows I stream, but they don't know I'm a VTuber, and obviously I would never tell them my channel. I've told them I stream, and that's like the extent of their knowledge. Stretch. The honors. I think like, on that topic, some of the things that I think I probably could have learned sooner, like there's some skills that are extremely valuable that are like not really, at least to me, were never really said many times when I was growing up. So one of those is, how do I put this? and some of things are like honestly gonna be taboo within the realm of like popular online culture. So one of the most valuable things, and like first, I would like to give a disclaimer. It's not like I'm super wise. Like you guys probably have more life experience than I do. um, one, I would say something that's extremely valuable is being able to give a sincere apology. Like when you like you need to be able to understand when you like genuinely wrong someone and be able to apologize to them without giving them any kind of excuse. Like the apology just needs to be like, I'm really sorry, I wronged you, it won't happen again, will you please forgive me? Like it shouldn't be something like, oh, I wronged you, but you were kind of being a jerk, or like, you did this or that, or like I was just really mad that day, so I wronged you. Like no. Like that's not, you don't want to give a half-assed apology like a lot of people do. When you apologize, it needs to be sincere, and you need to wholly commit to like, being at fault, even if necessarily like it's not really all your fault. It's like around your head, yeah. I would say like also like being like having high emotional intelligence, being a very empathetic person will pay dividends. Like people recognize when you have a good heart, and conversely, people recognize when you're selfish. People are a lot willing to help you out if they recognize it's coming from a place of sincerity and earnest, and like they know you would do the same thing for someone else. You definitely don't have more life experience than me. Well, that's good. Like in general, you will be a lot better person if you just let go of your ego in most situations. And also like learning the art of being tactful. Like for like the most like this is like super underappreciated. Like it's expected in like the workplace, but like, or at least I would hope it's expected in most workplaces. But like for example, and a lot, obviously like infamously in a lot of like competitive games. Thank you for the follow, Trebs TV. And a lot of video games, your teammates aren't gonna be, they're not gonna hold their punches. You're like, why did you do that? That was stupid. They're not gonna be like, and like that, generally speaking, in actual professional environments is not, that's just gonna make you enemies. You need to be able to be like, hey, I think you could have done that better. I can see why you made that mistake. I think you could have done this and that. Can you just need to be tactful about the things you say. And people will appreciate that. But at the same time, you need to also be able to, like, conversely to that, you need to be able to take constructive criticism and not take it personally. And that's something I like been trying to get better at. Like when someone criticizes you, even if they're kind of being a dick, you need to realize when it's like, it's not personal. If you keep those two things in mind, if you don't take things personal, thank you for the head pass jump again, you will excel. I cannot like tell you how much, like if you leave your ego at the door and you humbly take advice people give you, because a lot of people, generally speaking, right, the people that are the masters of their field are extremely opinionated, and they're extremely opinionated because they're usually right. So, you will meet a lot of people that are not tactful in your life. They'll just get right to the point. They'll be like, hey, that was wrong. You should have done this. And they will respect you if you can take it without your feelings being hurt. Eggo homestyle waffles. I love that. Like, I really, really like the Eggo cinnamon waffles. Oh God, those are so good. I have high emotional intelligence. Well, that's good. That puts you ahead of so many people. Okay, this is something that I kind of like didn't really, like another life skill I would say is like take your health, like develop, like you want to develop like healthy routines earlier rather than later. Like I kind of regret, like you should start working out in college, honestly, because you want to build those, you want to start eating working out, eating healthy, blah 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 blah. You want to start all those like healthy life habits early, so that by the time you're in a working age adult, it comes naturally to you. Like obviously, a lot of people kind of discover those things in their 20s when they probably should have done those things in college. So like learn those values early. Something that like I really struggled with was that like I didn't like taking care of yourself is like not easy, like brushing your teeth and self hygiene, this and that, for some people, especially like me, who like I've been someone that like has like struggled with depression like various points of my life. Like taking care of yourself, and loving yourself takes effort. It's not something that comes easy. So that's just something you just have to do, I guess. And also like I used to how do I put this? Like I used to go out in public with wearing like I don't know how to put it. When I used to, for the longest time, I would go out in public and I would not really, I wouldn't say I'd be very presentable, but my mindset at the time was like, oh, I don't care about these people. Like I don't, I'm probably never gonna meet them again. Why should I care about how I look when I don't care what these people think about me? And I think at the time that was like very, I think it's an immature thought process, because it's like, it's not necessarily that you care what people think about you, but it's like you care about how like you present yourself, I guess. Like you want to give people the impression that you care about yourself. Does that make sense? Like if I see someone in public and it looks like they haven't showered in 3 weeks and their clothes have holes in it, I'm gonna think this person doesn't care about themselves. Like they don't care about themselves enough to like take care of themselves. And it has nothing to do with like, do they care about like what other people think about them, or so yeah, that is something like, and like going beyond that, we live in a society where a lot of things are dictated by what people think about you. Like at the end of the day, if you want a job, someone's gonna interview you and you have to give a good impression. So I guess that basically learn to be diplomatic like earlier rather than later. Like you kind of, the internet likes to like romanticize being a NEET and being like anti-society and being like anti-social, and like that's funny and all, but like the reality is like that's not gonna help you in actual like being a working age adult that supports themselves. Maybe if you're trying to like appeal to a bunch of people, it's it's cool to be like an ooh girl failure, but like in real life, no one is gonna that's not gonna get you a lot of respect, because you won't be like trying to like pander to like other people that are not doing well in life. You're gonna try to you want to try to surround yourself by people that you want to be like. Being sure there's so much harm to deal with. Once you fall into it, it's so hard to get out of it. I'm very grateful that like after I was in NEET for 8 months, I'm very grateful I was able to find another job, because otherwise I don't know how long I would have been in NEET. Who knows? I recently started to love myself. It took me so long to develop it, and it wasn't easy. It's very hard to change your mindset after feeling that way about yourself for years. I agree. Like for the longest time, I just did not give a shit about like anything, like, including myself. And like, yeah, you have to develop that in yourself. And okay, so this is gonna be a bit more like advice for like I don't want to like to get too, again, like a common like popular talking point is like the loneliness epidemic. I do think like it's a fact that people are more lonely than they ever have been. But like I think like honestly, the things you need to do to be attractive to like a lot of people are like they're low-hanging fruit. Or maybe they're not low-hanging fruit, but they're simple to do, right? So like if you take care of yourself, you have basic self-hygiene, you know, brush your teeth, freaking shave, you know, whatever, wear deodorant, that's one. Get a haircut like, you know, every 2 or 3 weeks. Don't let your hair grow out like a caveman unless that's just the style you're going for. Like develop a style and like stick with it. Do what you need to do to maintain it. You know, work out. You know, get like you want to be fit. You want to be physically fit more so for your health than to attract someone. And then, you know, develop. This is kind of a bit more difficult to do, and you might need to like ask your friends. Develop a kind of fashion sense. Hello, Gekkohara. You let your girl like caveman? No. Well, I mean, if that's your style. I guess what I meant more is just like, don't let your hair look unkempt, you know? Don't look unkempt. Having a banging body works, ladies and gents. That's true. A banging body will, for a lot of people, makes up for like a lot of things. But you know, for anyone that's mature, it's not everything, obviously. But like you know, you do those three things. You work out, you get a haircut, you take, you know, you self-hygiene, and you have a little bit of fashion, just a little bit, you know, like you basically want to make it look like, again, that you care about yourself and you care about like putting effort into yourself. If you give the impression that you care about yourself, then you will attract people, right? And doubly so, if you give the impression that you care about yourself and you have good social skills, you know, like you know how to like keep a conversation going, you know how to like thoughtfully listen to someone and respond to them in kind, you know, forget about it. Like people will be lining up to be your partner. You know, like easier said than done, but like far from impossible, right? Definitely. You just have to like be willing to like admit to your flaws and actively work on them. Also, if you have childhood trauma, get that addressed earlier rather than later. There are a lot of adults that unfortunately probably should be in therapy, but they are not. Don't be one of those people. Like you're gonna end up on like some TikTok and you're gonna go viral for freaking out in public or something. I don't know. Like you have to be willing to admit you have childhood trauma and go to therapy. Fashion is easier when it's not so freaking hot and humid. Yeah. Well, maybe you should have, you know, outfits for every occasion. You know, I have no fashion sense, guys. Like my friend's wife has to pick out clothes for me. Because like I would, you know, I always wanted functional over stylish. And obviously it helps that I work from home. Hi Calcinator. Wait, do you two know each other? I mean, develop my socials, the more you do something, the better you are at it. That is true. Like, you know, you don't want to like, you have to, a lot of people are like definitely afraid of like, you know, it sucks to say, but when it comes to like being afraid of things, the best way to get over that is just to do it, you know? Like that applies to anything, but most famously interacting with people. Finding balance is harder than constantly focus on the next task at hand. I find it difficult to feel proud of myself and I always lock into the next step. I need to stop and spill hours. That's the quote I struggle to live by. I mean, I think there's value in being very focused, you know. If you mean like you're a workaholic, that yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Like you do want to be able to like appreciate where you are, but like me personally, I find I'm happiness when I don't have that much free time. Like when I keep myself busy, I'm the happiest. But you know, some people would kill to be able to maintain like strong focus at something. A thing I learned about admitting things is that you aren't taking part in it. You're openly exposing this weakness and your intention to overcome it. Yeah, and like that's a very like strong, mature thing to do. I don't want to get too much into it, but I still have the opinion that like popular American culture kind of lends itself to a lot of toxic masculinity. Like, I think like the idea that like, when you grow up that like, guys should do this and girls should do this, like that entire idea of like assigning, I guess like gender culture in general is stupid, in my opinion. Like, people should develop naturally, not by like a culture that's predefined, but by how like what they want to be, right? I don't want to get too into that though, but I think it's just like gender culture is just so limiting in like the potential that someone could be. Yeah, don't live your life by other people's opinions or you'll have a midlife crisis. I recently confronted my childhood trauma. My stepfather used to abuse me when I was younger. He regrets it, but so happened. We have a good relationship now. What did happen, I told him I couldn't forget what he did. I couldn't forget. Oh, that's so kind of you. I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad that you're at least able to like rebuild your relationship, I guess. I'm sure they let go of the past. That being said, like kind of conversely to that, or what's the word? Opposite to that, conversely, like don't keep people in your life that like, you need to be able to cut people off when they're being unproductive to your life and they're only dragging you down. And part of that is like not being like, you need to be in a position to be like, not be reliant on someone just for their company. Like when you're lonely, you make bad decisions, basically. So don't it's a cliche and like it's easy to say because I do think relationships are extremely important to being happy, but you need to know like when a relationship is unhealthy for you. Another thing is, for lack of better words, a lot of people that like to be sore losers, they like to surround themselves with other sore losers. Do not surround yourself with like negative loser people. You will become a loser. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like someone that's a loser is someone that's not willing to try, that like quits before they've even given a chance. You do not surround yourself with people like that. You will become like negative and people will not like being around you. People in general don't like being around pessimistic people. That doesn't mean like to not like to like be naive and not know like not be not develop a natural sense of like what's the word, hesitancy. You need to be able to judge situations, like I said earlier. Like, you need to be able to know when not to take advice, but in general you want to lean optimistic about things. Go on a hike, wear shoes, boots that won't give you blisters and a ton of water, and just walk. You'll find flowers somewhere and literally stop and smell if you're allergic. Best thing I've done when I need it alone time. I think for me, honestly, I kind of have the same problem where like, it's kind of like, for me, if I stand still for too long, I get sad, but I think I do have a problem where I don't appreciate what I have enough. Like I don't take the time to really stop and enjoy moments as much as I should. Something that's been helping me with that is meditation. I think meditation is like criminally underrated. When just like live in the moment, I guess. I don't know. That's how incels feel. I think losers trying themselves are losers, never trying to better themselves or fix anything. I think you, just surround yourself with like, powerful people. Like, not powerful, strong people. I don't know why I'm so hot today. It's probably because I went out earlier, and that's probably why I'm a bit like hotter than I usually am. Thank you for following Thermal Crab. That name is sick. Thermal Crab. Oh, I forgot to. Oh my god, I'm looking at my model right now, and I forgot to like do the lighting. I'm like so contrasting to my background. Oh well, too late. Well, I guess I could still do it. Hold on. I mean, I could probably still do it, right? Wait. Um. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get darker suddenly. Hold on. Where is the picture? There it is. Oh, wait, no. Why does it do that? I don't know why it does this sometimes. Wait, no. Oh, God. I'm too bright. How do I turn this off? Oh, wait. The forbidden white felt. The alternative universe felt. Oh, wait, did I get it? No. Did I get it? Hello? Oh, why isn't it working? It's so buggy. Freaking VTube Studio. I'm gonna try one more time and then I'm gonna give up. Well, maybe I have to have it open. Maybe that's what it is. Hold on. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Oh, maybe that is it. Okay, now we are blended in again. Now we look more natural on the background. Hello. Thank you. It was auto-generated by Xbox. You know, my name I go by, you know, like my gamer name is also one that was made for me. Thank God for AI and you know, Microsoft for giving so many people an identity. I'm someone that struggles to come up with stuff like that. It's like 86 F30C here, embrace the AC. AC is a blessing. You know, thank God for everyone who invented that. I don't even remember. We were talking about America and then somehow I pivoted to like life advice. I don't know. I think also like you can't be like. Really, what matters the most is that you're happy with who you are and you can support yourself. Anyone's opinion, you know, on you, that if you do those two things, if you love, you know, if you're happy with yourself and you are independent, you can support yourself, then, you know, what someone else thinks about you or their opinions about you doesn't really matter, right? I do think, like, in life, people that initiate have a massive advantage, okay? Like, I think everyone knows that, right? Like, most people are, like, you know, or not most people, maybe most people, like, obviously, you know, going up to someone and trying to strike up a conversation, initiating is, like, inherently a risky thing to do, because what if they don't want to talk to you? You know, you're gonna, like, you know, in a sense, you got rejected. But, like, everyone, like, so many people, they don't take chances because they don't want to come across as weird or creepy or whatever. You know, but, like, that is limiting yourself. Like, if you think about it, like, probably one person in the world has thought you were creepy only just by looking at you, you know? You don't live life, again, like, you don't want to live life based off of, like, I'm scared this person is gonna think I'm weird or something, you know? Like, you gotta go for it. Like, at least when it comes to making relationships, if you go for it, like, and that's not to say just, like, chase, like, you know, meaningless friendships, but, like, if you reach out to people, you will have so many friends. If you go out and reach out to people instead of waiting, everyone wants to be the one that gets initiated on, right? Or, like, you know, everyone wants to be the one that gets to sit around and just, like, someone comes to you, but that's actually extremely rare. And you will be very lonely if you do that. Simply writing hand towels, placing the Ziploc bags and freezing for later as a constant. freezing towels? I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that. I'm not saying you have to be a people pleaser either, but learning how to gracefully navigate social situations will be a godsend. Like, when I was younger, I used to think people were being fake. But I used to think I was so smart and that I knew more than everyone else, and I had some kind of social, I had some kind of social, enlightenment that other people did not have, because I was blunt and I was to the point, and I was not I didn't like small talk, and I didn't I was very straight to the point, basically. And as I grew up, I realized that no, that's just me coming across as a dick, and not give me an example. Hold on. Famously, in Eastern culture, they like to get to the point, right? When you go in a meeting, they like to get to a point. And famously in Western culture, you like to have a little small talk, and then you talk about business. And you might be like, "Hey John, how was your weekend? Yeah. How are those reports for the whatever, the accounting?" That is something that a lot of people would never tell you. It's kind of just something that you have to pick up on. I wish there was a book of social norms, but a lot of things, it's just kind of expected you'll pick up on them. But yeah, it's not that the people that participate in these rituals are naive and ignorant. If anything, they probably have better social intelligence and emotional intelligence than most people. It's just they realize in some sense you do need to you do need to have some give. You need to know when to conform to norms, and that I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but people also respect someone that knows knows how to be graceful, I guess. Tony Blunt when I shouldn't be. I'm doing little articles on flashcards that message on them saying things you mad. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Yeah, it can be really hard. But for example, I'm not afraid to tell you guys. I'm someone that unfortunately, I get a lot of unfortunately, external validation makes me feel really good. Probably too much. So it can be particularly challenging for people that are really used to seeking external validation to value themselves and love themselves. But like we said, that's just something you need to learn regardless. Yeah, I do think it's just a bad this is an unpopular opinion within the realm of the internet space, but the neat hikimori I hate school, down with authority, work, the act of working is evil, that whole space is inherently unhealthy for you to listen to. It kind of goes back to that loser thing I was telling you about. No one is for example, no one is saying that working is noble. In an ideal world, you should, it'd be great if none of us had to work, but what's infinitely more noble is being able to support yourself. If you leech off of your parents or the society, and you've come to terms, your excuse is that because you think work is evil or something like that, that's not respectable in my opinion. I don't respect that. Being like I said, being truly independent, being able to support yourself, is one of the most I mean, it's arguably the most powerful thing you can do for yourself, and to avoid that and and seek it out through someone else, I think is, for it's gonna sound harsh, I think it's pathetic. To not put in the effort into becoming independent because of some made up ideology, I think is like pathetic. Like, even if work was evil, I think, like, again, like, being able to support yourself and not rely on someone else is like more noble than, like, it's like the ends justify the means in that case, regardless of how you feel about like work. Sorry, I mean, and again, like, it's just kind of gross how, like, there's just so many like circles on the internet that are extremely unproductive to a healthy human being functioning in society, and even more so, there's like streamers, there's content creators and streamers that grift, like, they could you imagine, like, that would be great, guys. What if I was such a big loser that I started making content about how much of a big loser I am, and then I could make money off like the smaller losers. I guess that's kind of Alright, if you can be the biggest loser in the room such that the other losers start giving you money, then maybe you can make an argument. Like, if you're such a failure at life that people like are like paying you, or like they're like watching you because, like, then you've somehow managed to create value where there was none. That is impressive. Like, being able to support yourself is like the most powerful thing you do. And then that being said, though, it is important to like seek help when you genuinely need it. I just think in general, some people are too willing to give up and seek help. Like, me personally, I'm probably somewhere like to the other extreme. Like, I really don't like asking people for favors, like, unless I absolutely need to, and that probably is not necessarily a good thing. But like, you want to exhaust all your means first, in my opinion, before you ask someone else for help. You certainly don't want to you want to also give them the impression that you value their time. Like, for example, some very common advice you'll be given is, when you ask someone for help, you want to tell them the things you've tried to do yourself. So like that'll in itself will signal to them, like, hey, I respect your time. I'm not just like asking you just to ask you. I tried something myself. It didn't work. Do not be like helpless. Even if it might technically be more efficient for like the person to give you the answer, people don't like someone that's like helpless and doesn't respect other people's time. It's so gross that the biggest grifters are the tubers who've been doing this for decades and just have zero morals. I actually hate 97% of my viewers and do whatever they make the most money at everyone else's expense. I think it's just really disingenuous, especially when like, what if like there's actually like, I'm sure there are like people that like claim to be like failures at life, but actually like they have a very like thriving professional life. Like, they're the complete opposite. I mean, that's probably a thing. There's certainly a thing that people lie about their political views. That's certainly a thing. That's very popular to do. I have money with tonight ran on specifically quarters. I need for the apartment washing machine. Asking the nearest quarter so I had to clean your work clothes. I felt like cutting my arm off. Oh no. Are you like, I hope like you can be in the position one day to like buy your own washer and dryer. That sounds like, oh man. Oh, that's like a really like, that situation sucks to be in. Like, when you're in like that scenario where, like, for example, you can't, in that case, any scenario where you can't afford something because inherently it's too expensive, so you have to do the thing that's like more expensive in the long term, but like it's the only thing you can afford right now. So that's actually a really good point. Like someone once told me, or I watched on the video, like the rich people can save money better because, like, for example, like kind of what you said, instead of having to pay to get their clothes washed every time, they can use their washing machine, and then they don't have to pay like the electricity and the water. Or maybe if you don't have a car, you might have to take an Uber to work, whereas someone that has a car can just drive to work. Or yeah, if you like how you can buy in bulk, like if you can't afford the freaking 6-count toilet paper, you have to buy the more expensive 3-count toilet paper. Mm-hmm. And also, I think like also you need to be also like, it's also very important to give back. Like you don't want to be the person that only asks for favors and never gives. Like I said before, people are more than willing to like help you if they know you're not trying to exploit them. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous. Wait, they didn't have like a machine, Dom? Don't most of those places have like a little machine you put the dollar in and it gives you quarters? Right. I would like to think most laundromats have that. Or if they don't, they should. I rarely ever use, I rarely ever use, I haven't used paper money in so long. Unless they're so like change. I should just like give all my change to someone. Like, here, you'll probably actually use this instead of it sitting in my car all year or all for the rest of eternity. I like to think that, kind of funny to think that for some people their emergency fund is the change in their car. That sounds kind of heartless, but like that's the truth, right? When some people are like really down bad, all they can turn to is the change in their car. And I didn't have cash. You can get a store and get change. Oh, well, how much does it cost to do your laundry? Like, can you get it all done in one cycle, or do you need to do multiple cycles? Like, I would say, okay, this is just a pet peeve of mine. Something that is unattractive is like, well, this kind of goes back to taking care of yourself, but like someone that like lets dishes pile up, lets their laundry pile up, doesn't clean their room, like even if they take care of themselves, someone that doesn't take care of their things or takes care of their surroundings, that is very unattractive to me. I try to wash my clothes like a little bit like every week, or not like once a week. It's usually it averages out. Mm-hmm. 8 for washing, 4 for drying. Okay. Oh man. So what is that? $3? $3 every time you need to wash your clothes? Oh man. And it's just like very like unfortunate situation. Like you're just in that financial zone where like you have to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew a family that like I knew this guy. He was in my class. His family had to rent a computer. I was like, what? I could not imagine. You have to rent a computer? I thought that was insane. Happy America. Hi, woo, yay. Happy America. Well, technically for me, it's, well, I still have 9 more minutes of America Day. Eastern time zone is not America Day anymore. Mm-hmm. Happy America. Well, I don't know. You can rent a computer. I don't know. I mean, it probably isn't that hard to do. Water is included in your rent? Oh, wait, that's cool. Wait, really? Wait, if water is included in your rent, then you probably actually come out ahead. You definitely come out ahead, depending on, well, I can tell you right now, wait. It'd be close. It's gonna be close, I think. Like, depending on how much you use water. Like, okay, my water bill is $15 a month. So, like, if it costs me $3 every week to wash my clothes, I come out slightly ahead. If I had free water. No, he's saying that like he pays, like his water is free, but like but he has to go to the laundromat to do his laundry. I don't know if any place would have like well, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are some apartment complexes where like the shared laundromat is free to use. You probably have to like have some, like a key or something to scan into the building. That's how it was like in my college. Oh, good night. I don't know. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. That was like I always like really loved it when my dad told me that. I don't know why. It's such like a really small like display of affection that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. The sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. It's just so cute. Oh, I've been yapping for a while now. Okay, guys, we need to end stream. I need to end stream. I'm sorry. I need to end the stream. Thank you all for coming. It's been such a great stream. I'm glad I managed to find a bunch of crap to talk about. You want them to buy it? No, trust me, you don't. I grew up in a really old building, and I was like getting bit by bugs so often. Like my classmates would comment on all the bug bites on my skin. You do not want to. I don't know what we're talking about. I've been enjoying this ice cream this whole time. I'm glad you've been enjoying. I mean, I'm glad that a lot of people don't care about what I'm talking about. They just like being, in the presence of me. Because a lot of the stuff I say isn't exactly the most productive. Thank you all for coming. I think I'm gonna end stream now. We're gonna look for someone to raid. I hope I catch the next stream sooner. Thank you. I tend to stream around this time every day. I've been trying to make an effort to stream every day, and really, so far it's just been really enjoyable. I've been meeting so many cool people, like you guys. Like, it really makes me happy whenever I see a new message, and they stick around and talk to me. We have a good conversation. A lot of people share their like life with me, and I really want to like respect that, because I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. Like just in general, like, it doesn't even have to be that deep. I just like having a good conversation. Like, I just like having thought-provoking conversations, even if that's I probably said the same thing 50 times already on stream. Wait, where's my button? Close. All right, let me see. Let's find someone this raid. Let's see if any oompies on. I've talked about this before, but like kind of when you're doing ASMR, the most considerate thing to do is raid someone else in the ASMR who's doing ASMR. So let's try to find someone that's not like licking the mic. Is what I'll try to do. And doesn't have like their tits out. Wait, this person looks chill. Oh, what was that? Okay, never mind. I just heard like a... You can hear the fireworks in her stream. No. Oh my god, like that is off. Why? You can hear like her stream, you can hear like these bangs in the background. This is not ASMR. This is jump scare ASMR. What is this? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but I cannot send my viewers to someone where there's fireworks going off in the background. Tingles? Okay, we found the cutie, and she looks pretty safe for work. We love our safe for work ASMR artists. Not to say anything against the ones that aren't, but I respect when an ASMR artist doesn't lean into sexualizing themselves personally. Okay, anyways, thank you guys all for coming. It's been really great. I'm gonna say my goodbyes now. Goodbye, Calcinator. Goodbye, Mordred. Goodbye, Dom. Goodbye, Moni. Goodbye, Chunky. Goodbye, Javi. Goodbye, Dom. Goodbye, Johnny. And anyone else who's still here lurking, if I could look at the viewer list and say goodbye to everyone in the viewer list, but I feel like some people would prefer not to be, addressed. Some people like to stay in the shadows. Okay, anyways, bye. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye bye.